We presently have a code of conduct which was adopted in 1999 about how to make tourism more ethical for tourists, for tourist operators, for hotel owners, for tour operators, and this has been there for quite some time. And it has worked reasonably well, but we believe it should be made stronger. And one of the reasons why it should be made stronger is because between the time we established this code and now, the number of tourists worldwide has multiplied by 3. We now have roughly 1.2 billion tourists. So we need a stronger instrument. A code of conduct is a good thing, but it's not legally binding. So what the Ethics Committee has suggested is that we switch from a code of conduct to a binding convention, a good old international treaty. Maybe not all WTO members will subscribe more binding obligations, but we wish a maximum do that so that this code is stronger. The strategic position we've agreed in the committee is that we do not change the content of the rules of the Code of Ethics. So we do not draft a new Code of Ethics. We do not change what has already been agreed as a code by the members of the WTO. We just upgrade this instrument without changing it. We upgrade it into a treaty which makes it more binding. Now, it's not a detailed text. What it establishes as obligations of parties to the convention are obligations of means. That's what you have to do, not of results. It says you have to do this, this, and this in detail. So it's a global framework, and that's, again, something that, given the growing importance of tourism, I mean, this industry has been growing 5-6% per year for now decades, and it has become a huge industry with its good sides, and, as we know, less good sides, and this Code of Ethics is there to balance so that we get the good sides of tourism, avoiding possible bad sides. The Code of Conduct is for states, operators, industry, consumers. The convention, which is a legal instrument, is for states, sovereign nation states. So nation states sign and ratify this convention, and the obligations are for them. They have to make sure that within their authority, other tourist stakeholders, such as the industry or consumers, behave, but it's a different kind of obligation. It's a stronger obligation for the ones who have the authority to enter into obligations internationally, which are sovereign nation states. So it's more about sovereigns, although it implies the same kind of stakeholders as before. And the question is to make sure that as many as possible of the members of the WTO who agreed collectively to the Code of Conduct, as many of these accept to switch to a stronger instrument, a more legally binding instrument, which is a convention, which is another word for an international treaty.
Process.
Well, this process has known many steps, starting with the initiative of the World Committee of Ethics and Tourism, which I chair, and where I discuss this with my colleagues to suggest that this Code of Conduct becomes a convention. Then this was accepted. We had a resolution by the General Assembly of the UNWTO in Medellin 2 years ago. Now we've worked out a text which has been scrubbed by legal experts from a working group, which is a sample of UNWTO members. It's now agreed by consensus, clean. This will now have to go to a larger sample of the membership in order to make sure that they agree. So we started with a small group that agrees, then we would like to expand the group so that at the next General Assembly of the UNWTO, which is September this year in Chengdu, this is adopted as a convention by the General Assembly, which then would be open to signature by members. And the fact that 2017 is the UN year for sustainable tourism is in many ways a good coincidence. I mean, what can we do to make this a reality this year? Well, transform the code into a convention. That would be a big contribution to making tourism more sustainable.